Welcome to 561 Music. My name's Ben.
And I'm still Hector after all this time.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
After all these years.
I keep
still
trying
Hector.
to change it, but it's just not happening.
So your daughter says you can't become an influencer.
That's what she said. And then many of my friends said that's a falsehood because I am a very bad influencer. So,
I reckon you could be an influencer.
I mean,
don't see why
listen,
not.
I have like 80 likes and like 11 shares on that post. As far as I'm concerned, it's gone viral. So, for me, that's viral.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think the difficulty is that what she views in her head as an influencer is not her dad. You know what I mean? You can never be the kind of influencer she means.
This all came from, and I'll give you the quick rundown. This all came from about a year ago, I guess, a little over a year ago. A friend of mine that does art as well was starting to do the whole TikTok thing. He was posting his art and his, creating the art as he went. And he got picked up by somebody that saw it, a company that saw him, on there, loved it, and then he got hired. Like they're paying him, they were paying him to create something several times a week, and so
that's awesome.
Yeah, and so because this company was involved with it or whatever, it was like just, I guess, viral for lack of a better word. Like it was just crazy amounts of views and stuff. Well, I was joking around about a year ago because of that. Like, oh, man, I wish one day I would go viral. And then my daughter is like, oh, I want to go viral before you. Well, just recently, she made a TikTok. She made two TikToks, actually. She made one TikTok where she's like really good about like makeup and stuff like that. So she did this one TikTok where she did this whole like makeup technique and like it was really, really well done.
People love that stuff.
Yeah. And within 24 hours, she had over 1 million views and 100,000 comments.
Okay. Well, she wins.
Yeah. And then she created a second TikTok after that saying like, well, lightning's not going to strike twice. Let's see what happens. And she's all into fashion and stuff. And so she did one where she was wearing kind of a plain drab black dress. And then she snaps her fingers and she has like jewelry and makeup and whatever, all the accessories. And she's like, the whole caption was like, accessorize or whatever it was. And again, over 1 million views and over 100,000 comments. And I'm like, I hate you and you win.
Well, we could just do the exact same video. We could do like
backwards.
drab black.
Backwards. We should be like all dressed up and then snap our fingers and be like shirtless.
Yeah, there you go. I'm all about making hilarious TikToks with you, man. I think we could do it. It'd be very funny.
I think we would go viral, but that's just me.
There's like a whole kind of section of TikTok for like sort of
middle-aged guys, I guess.
Cheesy dads, Yeah. So we could do it.
I'm in.
So this weekend, it was a slow weekend for Killbillies, and also a bit of a bummer for me because so we played Square Grouper, that was fine, but then I was meant to play at Guanabana and I got rained out.
I know. I was going to come out and play 2 songs. No, I wasn't. I was going to come out and play 2 songs at your thing, and it's just
it was a bummer because I really enjoy playing those Guanabana's gigs because it's like my solo stuff, I don't do it that often, and I just like to brush off the dust off it and make sure it's fresh.
I was practicing. I was practicing on Saturday, and I was practicing one song, and then I started playing the second song, and my wife says, are those the 2 songs you're planning on playing with Ben tomorrow? And I said, yeah, why? She goes, could you play something that's not in the 80s? And I was like, damn it, I'm not going.
Oh, man. You would have been allowed to play stuff that was in the 80s. That was fine by me.
That was it. It's Kelly's fault. I blame her.
So, what was the other thing? Oh, yeah, you wrote a song. It's really good.
I did write a song.
Yeah, we got together and
it's the best song we've ever written ever, and it's going to go like quadruple platinum.
That's how we're going to go viral.
I'm just saying.
We'll make a video taking our shirts off to that song.
Oh, man. See, that's actually a good song to do that too.
Yeah. No, it was great. It's kind of got this energy to it. Is what we would. About a year ago, I was like, our next album, it's got to be all bangers, like all like fast tunes, because we've never done it, something like that. And there's always the temptation to write these kind of tender, heartfelt songs. And I just want one album where it just hits.
Yeah.
And then you just came out with this song, which it fits the bill exactly. Yeah. So I'm really happy about that.
I mean, we've had conversations on here a million times with people, and they're like, I write about what I know because it, comes from the heart and I know what it is. And, and I always joke around about how when I write, it always ends up being about like jilted love, but somehow I've been married 26 years. So I don't know where that comes from.
Yeah.
And so I just sat down and said, I want to write a song that, that hits hard and it's this and this and kind of this style or whatever. I'm like, what would that be about? And I'm like, walking into a bar, drinking a lot and getting into a fight. none of which I ever do.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
so that's what the song is about.
Yeah, totally, and it works. It sounds great. You know, it's we're due a song like that, like a rowdy drinking song, because we play rowdy drinking songs. We just didn't write any
We
of
just
them.
never write them. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's nice to have one of our own. I'm very
Nice.
happy about it. So, yeah, we've got Cody Moral with us, or AKA Stoney Vibes. How's it going?
How you guys doing today, man?
How's it going, man?
Having another day in paradise. Just happy to be here. Happy to be able to be on this progress of music so far. I never thought I'd be here 2 years ago on a podcast
dude.
about music.
So did you start 2 years ago?
No, I've actually been playing music since I was about 15, 14, actually.
Okay. So can you tell me a little bit about how it was when you were a kid and how you got into music and, you know, take your time. Let's hear the whole story. You know, like, were your parents supportive, all that kind of thing?
Kind of, really. I wanted to play drums after watching School of Rock as a kid. I'm like, I want to play drums. I begged my parents in elementary school. I did drum lessons for like 2 months. They got divorced. Drum lessons went out the window. I was like,
Gotcha.
all right, well, fuck. I can play, I got some drumsticks. I can bang on some pots and pans and textbooks. I can play music in class. I can tap. I can play drums. And then,
So you always just had it in you, just no outlet for it.
exactly. And then, finally, a buddy of mine sold me an acoustic guitar for $50. His uncle gave him, and I'm like, all right, let me learn the basic chords, your G, C, D.
Nice.
Cowboy chords.
Exactly. And then it was like Sublime and Jack Johnson kind of taught me like, all right, bar chords. And like,
Sure.
I heard Jack Johnson doing these like crazy little riffs to like bar chords. I'm like, how this guy playing these like melodies and playing like strumming at the same time? And I was like, what the hell? He's doing all this crazy stuff. And then Sublime taught me like just this skanking power chords. And I was like, all right, this is kind of a cool kind of genre, because I was always into like all sorts of music as a kid. I was had a bunch of friends that were rappers, a bunch of friends that were surfers, I had a bunch of friends that were skaters. So it was like, it was punk, it was reggae, it was hip hop, it was kind of everything growing up. Everyone back then, it was like SoundCloud rap was the thing, so all my friends wanted to be rappers. I was like, all right, well, give me FL Studio, I'll make you guys a little beat. Like, I'll start chopping some stuff up. So that was kind of like my high school days. And then
Did you ever rap?
I would freestyle with some friends here and there, like getting drunk,
me too,
but
yeah.
I would never call myself a rapper. I'm just like, but
yeah, it's a bold statement, you know, to claim rap is
exactly.
like, it's a big one.
You have to be there lyrically, or just have the persona where you just own it, kind of.
I mean, there was a few songs in Sonic Boom 6, the band I was in back in the day, where that I was rapping in them, but would I call myself a rapper? No.
Exactly. I've done some songs where it's like reggae style, where I'm like, I'm kind of rapping, but am I a rapper? No. It's because I'll never claim myself to that kind of standard or something. But
exactly, yeah.
It's like, it's just a different genre I just don't really associate. I mean, I associate with, but it's like I don't call myself in that particular
totally.
area. But
so, what would you say is some of your biggest like influences in terms of musical styles and bands have been?
Dude, it varies so much, honestly. I've gone through all phases of my life. I grew up here in Florida, but then when I was 18, I pretty much packed up all my stuff, moved to Colorado, kind of like lived in a truck for two months, and then figured out some stuff, got an apartment. But when I grew up in Florida, it was mainly all reggae music, surf rock kind of and stuff. And then I moved to Colorado and got into like the Grateful Dead and Widespread Panic and all these bluegrass and jam bands. And I'm like,
Nice.
this is so different. And then I met all these like dubstep and bass head kids where I'm like, all right, this music's so different. So it's like, I don't like calling genres because if I can play a show and play every single music I want to play, I will have a mashup of all different sounds. Like,
yeah, definitely.
I've gone, like, one of my best shows ever was Ministry, Primus, and Slayer. And then also, like, I would say that next to, like, Revolution. Like, they're both, like, I just love music, and it's just genres are limitations, I think, and you can just kind of, like, explore it. And if you can find the right way to explore different genres with keeping the sound the right way without mashing it and making it sound like a atomic bomb.
Like a mess,
You can kind of, like, all right, we can kind of, like, do this, like, heavy reggae kind of ska, then kind of do like a really wubby bass breakdown, and then
You're
come
speaking
back,
my language, my friend.
come back in heavy with like a punk rock like anthem kind of. I'm like, and then it kind of keeps like the music, the crowd kind of like on this roller coaster kind of. Which is like a bunch of my friends were DJs in Colorado and San Diego when I lived out there, and it's like to watch how a DJ can kind of like take this crowd and kind of like pick it up, then have them fucking going like crazy,
Nice.
then kind of like bring them down, have them like feeling that energy, that ecstasy they just felt from that, and then bring it back up again, and then they leave that experience with like a different feeling. And it's
You know, when I was like 18, 19, I remember saying almost exactly this to my girlfriend at the time, that I wanted to sort of create this thing where it's just like every type of music, and it just kind of swirls it through this like journey through all these different types of music. And in one way or another, I kind of did that with Sonic Boom 6. We really veered around, you know, and played a lot of different stuff whilst trying to maintain a stylistic sort of, you know, thread.
exactly,
But,
yeah.
I think these days it's a little more divided. Like, I really like kind of reggae and ska, and I really like sort of bluegrass and Irish music, but they don't really meet up that often.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's some things that don't mix, and I've realized that with like reggae, I can definitely incorporate that like dubby, wubby bass,
For sure.
I can do that heavy echo, that a lot of delay. I can kind of hit my keyboard and do like a low frequency pass and kind of like do that whoop whoop whoop, and kind of like make those noise go with the dub, and then kind of like. I mean, if you think about it, like dubstep, all that stuff originated from like dub reggae. It's all just throwing a bunch of channels around and just mixing it. And I'm like, all right, I can kind of.
Jamaicans in South London in the early 2000s.
Yeah, they're crazy with it. So I was like, all right, I can kind of contribute this. And then with the live band, it was sick with it because we would just kind of like, I would hop on the keys, put my guitar down, and just have bass and drums going. I'm just like throwing these like little channel mixers on the keyboards. I'm like, all right, we're getting these like low pass frequencies. And like it makes every person kind of like enjoy the show more. I've realized that, where it's like I'll be playing, what's it called, Steve Miller Band, The Joker, and I'll do that, and I'll mash that up with It Wasn't Me by Shaggy, and then I'll go in from Shaggy to Angel by Shaggy, and then I'll like do a little breakdown where I throw the wubs in there, and everyone's like, the old people love it because Steve Miller Band. The young kids love it because Shaggy. The younger kids love it because like the weird bass lines. And like, what the hell is this kid doing?
When you're making the bass lines, what are you using for that? Is it a keyboard, or are you just doing it with your guitar?
So I use an octave pedal with my guitar.
Yeah,
so
and then you just do the low part, the filter.
Well, no, so I'll do for my bass line, I'll do the octave pedal with the guitar, and then with my keys, I'll get the synth, and I'll kind of get like a synth line going. And I'll just do like echoes with the synth kind of and stuff like that.
Okay,
kinda
gotcha.
Like, I don't know. It's just half my gigs. I'm like, if it's quiet, where I'm like, it's not that much of a crowd, or like it's a rainy day or something. Like I always kind of experiment with new stuff, and half the time, a lot of the venues love it because they're getting the same old stuff. Whereas everyone's trying to play the simple covers and the simple stuff, and I'm like, all right, well, there's 5 people in here that want to have a concert. I'm gonna give them that concert. Like I don't care if it's small or if it's big.
We say that on here all the time. You know, if there's 5 people in the room, you want to make sure they walk out of there like your fans. You know?
Exactly, and that's one of the best things, because like I've had the weirdest experiences where I've been at venues playing for the first time with my band, and people are like, "Yo, we've heard about your band. Like, we wanted to see you guys." I'm like, "You guys are 55 years old. Like, why do you want to see a young punk band, like a punk reggae band like me? Like, what do you guys want?" Like, they're like, "No, we heard about you all over town." I'm like, "Well, this is fucking sick." I'm like, "All right, so we must be doing something right."
And also, here's the thing. Something I realize as I get older is that there's not really an age limit on liking music, especially these days. Because back in the day, you know, like in like the 60s and 70s, the older people had never heard rock music. You know what I mean? But now, like, rock and punk it's been around.
It's been around for 40, 50 years now. So it's like they grew up on that. So it's like it's coming back around where it's like it's more accepted and appreciated. And like I kind of like that, where it's like I'm getting gigs at venues I never thought would want to book me. And it's like because people
rock
love
music
this stuff now.
is basically is pretty much in the same category as like classical music at this point. Been around for so long.
Exactly. You can't go wrong with it. So
yeah, totally, man. So when you're recording your music, do you do it at home?
I've been working on it right now, kind of like just getting the process of recording music on Ableton, kind of like.
Yeah, what's the songwriting process? Because we'll get into talking about the gear later, but I'm just curious about like how you build a song idea together.
That has been a hard task for me recently. It's been kind of a rough one. Usually before, when I was living in Colorado, I lived in a van for like 2 years, and that was where I got a lot of my inspiration for a lot of songs I've written then that I'm just now starting to bring to life now.
Right.
So it's been kind of like that. But
so you're using ideas that you had in Colorado.
Exactly, and just I'm trying to like dig into like past experiences because I mean I was 18, I moved out there with nothing, moved to San Diego with nothing. Just
that's a great story.
Yeah, it's been a long experience, been a long journey. I mean I've been homeless more times than I've had a house, so it's
sure.
And but always just came back to the music. Like there was times where I was busking music, playing with like on the sidewalk and making enough money just to keep on living in a rich ski town kind of.
Sure, yeah.
It was hard, but it always just came back full 360. And
I think busking is a great like apprenticeship because it teaches you how to attract people to you.
Exactly. It taught me a lot of stagemanship. It was like, all right, well, there's everyone walking by me. How can I stand out to where it's like, and there was days where I was making $200-300 as a busker. It was like,
I can relate, man. I did the same thing.
Yeah, and it was awesome. And there was times where like, I would have other friends come with me too. Like there was times where it'd be me with a ukulele or guitar and harmonica, then another buddy with a guitar, a buddy on a stand-up bass, and another buddy with a harmonica. And we'd just be jamming for 3 or 4 hours and like
man,
made $400. We're like, all right, well let's go get some whiskey, let's go have a good night's dinner, and like, great job, boys. Like it was fun, and we'd just all go back to our houses or go back to our campers and stuff, and it was a good time. So
yeah, man. No, the way it worked. Well, I was talking about it last week, but the way it worked with me is I'd just busk in the middle of Manchester, and I did that for on and off for years, but like it was my primary source of income for about a year.
Same here. Like, it was just like, I'm like, all right, it's a Friday afternoon, like I gotta go bust because this is my income for the next week right here. So if I can make $300 or $400, like I'll be set to get me by till Wednesday and start busking again, because there's times where it'd be dumping snow and I'm like, all right, well I gotta fucking make some money. I'm going out in the snow and
out there with your like fingerless gloves and stuff.
Exactly. I'm like, all right, no guitar, ukulele only. I'm like, just something light and easy. I'm like, what can I play to make this money? But
we used to wear the fingerless gloves. Even the tips of your fingers are like freezing cold. You're trying to play.
Oh my god, it's so bad. I would never play guitar in the snow ever again. My fingers have been through it enough.
Is there like because I've heard you talk about busking in Manchester and stuff, and then we've had a few people on here now talk about busking and stuff. So like when you're out busking and everything, I'm assuming you've done it in different cities, different places. Do you ever have a problem with like the local law enforcement or anything like that?
Yeah, so we would in Breck for a little bit in Breckenridge, Colorado. Mainly if you're using any kind of amplification. So if you had any kind of amplifier, microphone, anything like that, they would kind of give you a hassle. Other than that, they were pretty. They kind of like encouraged it because it kind of brought like the tourist like artistic. Yeah, and it's like there'd be in this like little town square area. There's a bunch of like little river flowing through, a bunch of town like shops and stuff.
Yeah, I've been there. It's a cool place.
And like the music kind of attracted attention, and which kind of sucks now because you go there now, everyone's got amplifiers and Bose sound towers. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, 4 years ago, I was struggling trying to yell out across the main street to sing loud enough, but it helped me.
They probably need licenses too now.
You got a book with them like $100 for the year or 6 months or something.
Curious because I know like last summer, last year we went on tour and we were gonna busk in Memphis, and I had to apply. It was free, but I had to apply for a license and get a permit and all that stuff. We ended up not doing it, but we had to like pre-register and get a permit, and there was certain areas that you were confined to, and certain like decibel, you couldn't be louder than X whatever. You couldn't be loud enough for like the next busker, X feet away or whatever could hear you. But then there's other cities like West Palm Beach. I've looked into it here a couple of times because I thought, like, you're always telling me, like, that's a great way to cut your teeth, playing in front of a crowd or whatever. Even if it's the same 3 songs over and over and over again, you're not expected to perform like you are in a venue.
I'm pretty sure you can get a license in West Palm Beach, but they're weird about it. It's like you have to get a certain time and certain place.
It's very, very difficult. I've looked into it, and it's like damn near impossible. And
if you're out there, it's also expensive. It not worth it.
And if you're out there without one, like you get in trouble.
So what happened to me in West Palm Beach? I've bussed 2 or 3 times in West Palm Beach, and they moved me. Here's the thing: you don't get in that much trouble. They just move you on, like the first time or 2, and then the 3rd time they're like, if we catch you doing it again, you get in trouble.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the way I was doing it was I was doing it on the sax, and you don't need to amplify the sax.
Right.
And and it's super portable, and you can almost kind of play it off like you weren't busking. you know. Yeah, I mean, they know you were, but you just be like, I was just playing it a bit. You know?
Yeah.
And like the sax is by far and away the easiest way to busk.
I was just curious because I do see people on Clematis and stuff like that, you know, busking. Like we've played O'Shea's before, and I've gone back to the parking garage to get something out of my car, and there's a guy with his hat on the floor, and he's playing violin, and someone else is playing ukulele, and somebody else is playing guitar. There's always 2 or 3 people on Clematis, but I feel like every time I've looked into it, it's either been like frowned upon or expensive, you know.
Well, it's South Florida, you know. It's very like those. They don't exactly encourage that kind of thing down here.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it's more kind of the attitude of what you're bringing to that area where you're playing at. Because there's probably there's some buskers that you know of, they're fucking just a $6 bottle of whiskey, just fucking deep, just fucking playing, strumming like crazy, and just sitting in front of a restaurant, and they're like, dude, we can't have you in front of a restaurant trying to busk in front of here. And
right,
like,
you get the like mentally ill, like awful people.
Exactly.
And then you get like people who are actually good.
Exactly, and some people that are trying to like actually just showcase their art rather than just fucking trying to make enough money for another bottle of KD, pretty much. So it's like,
and there's definitely like you know a whole grade from kind of glorified begging essentially to performing a concert.
Exactly, and it's like that's why like there would be days where I was busking. It's like I didn't care if I made money or not, but it's like some of the best times busking was like a nice little flurry, and like I was playing like Can't Help Falling in Love on the ukulele, and it's like this old couple just stopped and they started seriously like slow dancing on the sidewalk, and I'm like, this is the best fucking tip I could ever get right here. I'm like, this is like, I'm making a memory, I'm making a fucking moment magical. It's like, that's what music's about, though. It's not about fucking making cash off it or getting viral. It's about like what experience people can leave from what they've heard, kind of. And it's like,
you know, I've never felt when I first started doing it, it really broke something in me, the nerves of playing in front of people, because it's like you almost feel naked. Yeah. You're like stood there in front of everyone. You have your instrument. You're like, well, do I start like now? You know, and you go, okay, I guess I'm just going to start. It's really weird when you first start doing it.
Well, that's the thing. Like we've talked about, you know, and you do solo stuff as well, right?
Yeah, all the time.
So we've talked about that a lot. Where I want to do some solo stuff. Maybe in my off days, be able to go do that and fill in some gaps and stuff. But I just can't get, you know, I'm like at the top of the hill with the car and it's running out of gas. You know, I can't get over that last little hump of like, when I'm with the band, and Kelly tells me all the time, she's like, you play like, you know, 100 times a week. Like, what is the big deal? Yeah, the big deal is when I'm with the band, I'm hiding behind the band. Right. Even if I screw something up and it's obvious it was the bass, I'm still hiding behind the band. I have a ginormous stand-up bass. I'm hiding behind the band. When I'm out there by myself and it's just me, like, there's no hiding, man. It's just me. Right. You're vulnerable.
No, you're absolutely right, and that's why it's good, because you really find out what you're made of. Yeah. And you not only that, you get better quickly. Because I always feel like you almost get scared into getting better. And I remember being at that point as well. I remember being at the point where I had loads of nerves, and I'd like organize these solo gigs for myself, and I'd just be so nervous, and then I'd go and do it, and I'd make a load of mistakes, but you know, that's just what you got to do. Yeah. So it's scary, and you're not going to be good your first gig. You might be amazing. I don't know.
I mean, but there's a ton of people that go out there and do it like you do, and I believe you do too. Like you have the looper and everything else going.
I do. I started off with full solo, and that's why I try to because I'll do gigs with my band, and it's like they'll be all like kind of like just they're just now getting into like performing on stages. Like they've done open mics. I kind of met them at open mics and stuff like that, and we kind of like just became best buddies. And nice. I'm like, all right, guys.
They all live up in Fort Pierce with you?
No, actually, one's in Pennsylvania right now.
Oh, that's right.
Just moving down here. Hopefully moving down here soon. And the other just moved up to Merritt Island, but he's got a house in Fort Pierce he goes back and forth with. Okay. So trying to make it work long distance. That's why I kind of just produce at home and just kind of send them stems. Sure. I'm like, all right, here's a drum pattern I'm kind of working with this song. Let's kind of like see what you think about it, and then we kind of just network like that, kind of.
It's the beauty of the internet, man. You can record long distance.
Exactly. It's been crazy. So
I'm putting together a video right now of people all over the world, and just having them record their faces on their phones, and I'm just slotting that into like little TV screens on the video.
Like music video. Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. Totally, man. So do you practice your guitar still these days?
Honestly, I gig so often. That's pretty much my practice, and that's why I kind of.
How many gigs would you say you do a week?
Usually on an average about 3 to 4, sometimes 5 or 6 maybe. Yeah. So, like, been trying to stay as consistent as possible. Like I do every weekend. I'm at Kyle G's and Stewart. So I do that almost every single Sunday. Every Sunday. So it's like a great little beachside, oceanfront spot. So I just go there and play music and just like work on some new stuff with my band, or just kind of like work on ideas. And I'm like, I do that to work with the crowd reaction. I'm like, all right, how's this song sound? I just wrote, like, let's see how they think about it. All right, they liked it. Boom, it's on the checklist. Didn't get a good response, or I might just work on it some more and kind of like tweak it out a little bit, work on the lyrics some more and stuff. So I kind of do that as like a way to gauge myself and gauge my lineup, kind of what my song set list. All right, what songs do they want to hear? What songs do they not want to hear? All right, everyone loves hearing this. I'm gonna keep this in this like grade A folder.
Yeah. Do you have songs that you play even though people don't like it that much just because you like it? I definitely do.
Absolutely. There's plenty of them I do it, and 20 of them might not like it, but 5 of them might, and I don't care. If those 5 like it, that's the crowd I want to reach, because they're the ones who are there to enjoy the music, and most of the music I listen to, everyone enjoys it. So it's like, I'm like, you just have a good vibe, and let's just work together and keep this vibe going.
Something that I picked up from you today is like, you're right, it's not that difficult to get like a wobbly bass going, and you don't even really need a synth up there. You could just do it with the octave pedal.
That too. I mean, I just have, or originally I had one of those little tiny Akai mini keyboards, and I just hit that and just turn the frequency knob and just like, and that was it. I would do like what's it called? Fleetwood Mac cover. I would do Dreams, like more of like a house beat kind of version. You know, like I would stop it and I would have like this bass wumbling. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Boom, and like back into it, and like, and everyone's like, "Holy shit! It sounds like a real like radio song." I'm like, I'm just they're having fun twisting knobs. I'm like, all right, this sounds sick. I'm like, let me experiment with these different sounds. I'm like finding on Ableton and like just combine it with I'm already had a loop going. I can have so much other stuff I can do now. Like the loop's already made, the bass line, the drums. All I gotta do is sing into a microphone and just twist some knobs and have fun with it.
That's the key, man. Like get your set where you're comfortable enough to just play around and experiment and have a good time. You're not just like freaking out and focused on like, oh God, am I going to play this right or whatever.
Yeah, and it's like I could easily like, I don't have to bring all this gear with me, but it's like I do it because it's fun. And it's like, I'm like, dude, like unless I get to play in front of people and like have all this cool shit, like some gigs I can leave it at home, but I'm like, I want to give these people the same experience these other people get. So I'm bringing all the gear with me. I'm going to lug it, and I'm going to set it all up, and I'm going to have fun with it, and I'm going to give these people a good time, and hopefully
I've seen you. You're great.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Yeah, and you've seen a bit of my set, too. It's like, it's definitely a lot more pared down than yours, and I think the idea of getting some bass lines in there, I'm going to take that away from this meeting.
Dude, absolutely, man. Just a simple octave pedal and just get those bass lines going. And
I'm already playing like regular bass, but like that kind of like house bass.
Oh, absolutely. No, that's just super fun. And it's kind of like, it kind of fills in a lot of gaps too, I've realized. You can kind of like fill in those empty, because with reggae, it's all those like skank notes, there's so many empty spaces that aren't being filled yet. So I'll kind of fill in like some little synth leads or some swirls in there and kind of like try to add it all together.
Yeah. Do you listen to classic like 70s reggae, and do you like some of the old stuff?
That's like some of my favorite stuff. Like a lot of like King Tubby and like Peter Tosh and that's like Gregory. Like, I just love like the simplicity of it and like how like rugged it sounds, but how like good it sounds. And it's like you don't need like, they had the worst gear ever, and it was like still sounding like organic, and it still sounded great. And it's like makes me feel like, all right, I have a MacBook and a Universal Audio Volt 276 interface, and I'm like all these keyboards and stuff. I'm like, why can't I make a fucking song? These guys had nothing. I'm like, what the hell, man?
I know, it's like kid in a candy store stuff. I think that it's like when you have like every option out there, it's like, well, which one do I pick?
Exactly.
It's like we talked about this the other day. It's like limitations are actually created.
Yeah, it's like you were talking about with Lot 49. I was watching that podcast, and I'm like, I kind of like, all right, I see kind of these questions. I'm like, all right, because it's kind of the same thing I was working with too, like how he was kind of like recording and like producing more hip hop beats. Where I'm like, all right, it's so hard for me to be on a drum pad trying to get these like live drum sounds. I'm like, it's almost impossible. I'm seriously trying to tweak every parameter. I'm like, dude, it's just not happening. But then I go to the 808 and I'm like, wow, this sounds so clean right now. I don't gotta do nothing. Yeah. And the same way you guys were talking about it yesterday, or I was watching the podcast yesterday.
Yeah, it's definitely a cool way of doing it. If you decide to incorporate that into your sound, it takes away a huge like worry. You're like, okay, just use these awesome drums.
Exactly. But that's why I've been trying to get more with like the my drummer trying to get in the studio. So like certain songs, I'm like, all right, I can definitely produce this on a keyboard. But then other songs, I'm like, I need real organic drums.
Yeah,
I need those crashes to sound like someone's beating the shit out of them. Like I want everything to sound organically, kind of.
So talking to bands, like, have you ever had a situation, like, how do you deal with drugs and alcohol when you're at a show? Do you have any kind of like rules with that or anything like that?
Well, I actually got sober up like 2 years ago from like a lot of other drugs. Like I still drink, I still smoke weed, but like I was doing a lot of coke and partying back then, and I thought it made me a better musician. I thought it was.
Everyone thinks so. Yeah,
I'm
you
like,
always think that.
Exactly. Like I remember one time I played a gig at Terra Firmata for Memorial Day or something, and I was surfing all day. My buddy's boat pulled up. I paddled out to his boat, took a shot of whiskey on the boat, came out, did some other things, and then I went to the show, and all my friends showed up there excited to see me, paid $15 at the door, and I was a train wreck. I was so bad.
Being on a boat is a special kind of wasted too as well, because you're like kind of sunburned and
stuff.
Well,
I just paddled out, hopped on, took a shot, then paddled back surfing, and I kept surfing after, but no, and then like, I just was embarrassed as hell, and I was like, dude, like, what the hell am I doing? And then kind of like met a great girl, got myself cleaned up and stuff, and then started taking music seriously, where I'm not partying, I'm not drinking at every single gig, not acting like I'm the fucking rock star. I'm like, dude, just humble yourself and just go play music and have fun doing that. And it honestly helped me a lot. It made me more successful as a musician, helped me get more gigs, helped me have more steady contracts with other like venues and stuff. And that was like the best thing I ever did for myself.
You can't like put a price on
your name.
Well, that's it. I can't remember who said it. I think it's DJ Premier. You know, who said, you know, reputation hard won and easily lost. You know, it's the most important thing. I think he has it tattooed on his forearm. Reputation.
I love that, because you can lose your name real quick, and I've realized that the hard way. So I worked my way back to kind of like get my name out there and just be a standout musician. It's like I try to tell my friends, if you're gonna come here to see a show and get shit-faced, like, don't show up, because like I've had friends seriously try to be best buddies with me and walk up to me and kick my pedals and stuff and almost knock over my speakers. I've had them get in fights at the bar, then the bartender's looking at me like I'm the guy starting the fight, and it's like, dude, like I'm just here playing music. I can't control my friend over there across the bar and yell at him. I don't want to be associated with him. I'm just trying to keep this song going. Hopefully nothing escalates. And then it's like, but it's something I had to learn the hard way, because I've lost a few venues that way. I've lost a few connections that way. And it's like, all right, what do I care more about? My friends being there partying or me making a career as a musician? And it's like, of course, it's me making a career as a musician. I want my friends to party there with me, but if you can't do it in a respectable sense, then don't bother showing up, kind of.
Yeah, no, that's interesting, because like, I've been the person who was a disaster before.
Same.
I've also
the worst.
I've also had band members who were super unreliable like that. But noticeably, I had band members who were super unreliable like that when I was, and it's like now I'm not. The guys in my band are just completely together guy, you know.
That's why I'm terrible. Don't let them fool you.
Well, that's why I'm so glad with my drummer and bass player. Well, also my guitarist, but like they're both like really grade A guys like that. The crowd I was hanging with when I was partying before probably would have never met these guys, and then now that I kind of like was doing my shit, had my ducks in a row, became more of like a local name and Stuart and stuff as a musician. Yeah. They reached out to me to open up for me at the surf shop one day. I'm like, yeah, go ahead, like open up. Like that takes less time off my slot. Like I'll just pay you guys $75 out of my 200. Here you guys go. And they're like, yo, like we love your music. We love watching you on Instagram. Can we jam with you? And that jam just led into a bandship kind of. So I was like, all right, this is sick. And then so like luckily they don't fuck around and do anything like that. So it's like been nice. Only thing I can say is like they're kind of late sometimes, but they get that all.
Well, I gotta believe it. I mean, I've never been in a recovery situation, but I have to believe that if you are surrounded by people that are very supportive of that and are kind of respectful of that it makes it, you know, not that it's an easy road, but it helps it. It makes it easier. It makes it a little easier. I mean, like in your case, if James and I were getting sloshed and drunk and falling off the stage every show, you know, would you fall off the wagon? Probably not. But at the same time, it would probably
I wouldn't be having a very nice time because I feel left out.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Exactly.
It would be hard on you. It would be hard on you. Yeah,
if I was at band practice and I had my buddies like in the corner chopping up a line, I'd be like, all right, well, I'm going to do what I used to do back in the day, but it's like, thankfully, I don't have that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I have friends that come to my shows and will try to get me to do, like, go to the bathroom, and I'm like, dude, like, I'm here at work right now, and also, like, I don't do that shit no more because it doesn't help me in any way with what I'm doing now. I always thought it would. I'm like, I can just, like, stay up all night and make music on my computer. I'm like, no, dude. Like, I'd rather wake up at 8 in the morning and have a cup of coffee and work on music then. I'm like, that's the better way to make it, not strung out at 4 in the morning.
And it took me till I was, like, 39 to realize that too. It's like, well, no, I realized it before, but to actually act on it. Getting up, I get up. I was working on music at like 9 a.m. today, I was
same here. I woke up at like 9:45, went to right to my studio and started working on some tracks. And I'm like, all right, this is like what I'm doing on my day off. Like, I could be surfing, could be fishing, but I'm like, I really want to work on this music. I want to start putting stuff out there. And like, it's my day off. Am I going to take the day off? No, I'm going to fucking work on some music and try to, like, seriously sit there and record the same guitar track for 25 takes because I want this little lead riff to sound the way I want it in a recording. I'm like, dude, so I sat there and I'm like, what time is it? I'm like, it's 2 o'clock now. I've been here since 10:30 trying to record these keyboards and this guitar riff. And I'm like, I need to go to the beach. Like, I'm going to go surf for 30 minutes, like, take my dog out. I'm like, I've been in the house all day, and it's like,
well, it's great you have surfing as an outlet, like a physical outlet.
Yeah, I needed that because like surfing and skating is what kind of like makes me like listen to music or think of music. So when I'm skating, I'm listening to music, I'm thinking of ideas, and then when I'm surfing, I'm thinking of like sounds in my head and how I can make these sounds come onto a computer or onto a guitar or out of a microphone. Nice. Like, that's how I come with most of my
life. Perfect Florida musician life. Well, listen, I think that now's a good opportunity to listen to a little bit of your band. Why don't we stick you got some footage, some live footage, so let's check that out.
We got that festival coming up, so we'll play the footage for that, I guess.
Yeah, so. Wicked. All right, cool.
This week's episode is sponsored by Gual Music. Gual Music is a music production company led by Guy Gualtieri, or Gual, which is for labels and independent artists in need of fast turnarounds and affordability in the South Florida area. The company maintains high-end gear, industry standard software, and uses the latest recording and editing techniques to produce commercially competitive music for their clients. Gual Music makes music production easy by bringing the studio to you.
We are also sponsored by Oasis Root. Now, Oasis Root Kava Bar is in Seagrape Square on Indiantown Rd, and it is a kava bar. If you don't know anything about kava, it's a Polynesian root that you grind up and you mix with water, and it has been in Polynesia for potentially thousands of years. It's an old thing that they used for kind of ceremonial and also sort of leisure purposes. It's meant to be something where that brings people together. You all take a shell of kava and chink them together and say bula and have it together like that. It's meant to be something to bring people together. It's has a kind of an effect, which is, I guess, a kind of a slightly warming effect. It just kind of makes you feel nice. It's not particularly intoxicating. It's not like drinking alcohol. So the atmosphere in a kava bar is sort of like a cross between a regular bar and a coffee house. It's pretty chill in there. You get all sorts of different types of kava bars. Some of them are more like a club, there's sort of like blacklight and EDM playing, and some of them are more like a cafe. This is one of the cafe type of ones. It's super chill in there. If you're looking for somewhere to, I don't know, maybe go and do some work on your laptop or go and have a chat with friends, it's perfect for that kind of thing. There's a foosball table in there if that's your jam, or baby-foot as they call it in France. And Jim, the owner, is a really cool guy, and he has very kindly sponsored our podcast. So thank you very, very much for that, Jim. They also do a poker night in there, all sorts of things going on at Oasis Root Kava Bar. 561 Music is sponsored by Live Music Community. It's where we film the podcast that you're listening to right now, and it's also where I work. Gavin, Hector's son, was a student here for a long time, and in many ways he's the musician he is today because of the teachers at Live Music Community. We taught him not only about his instrument, but also about being in a band, and his band, Unemployed Youth, accomplished a lot of goals, mostly band etiquette, how to work together, and all of the nitty-gritty that goes into being in a band on a day-to-day basis. The student signs up for lessons, learns their instrument, joins a real band, and decides the direction it goes in. And we can take people from very young age, 6 or 7 years old, all the way up to 80. There's no age limit here. We run an adult program for people who want to be in a band as adults, but really the main focus is on the kids and getting them playing together and in bands. We are also a studio, a live stream venue, and we can record audio or video. The Killbillies live album, Warts and All, was recorded here. It was recorded during a live stream that we did during COVID. Justin had a great idea to record live streams during COVID. A ton of bands came in, and it was a real success. But outside of that, we can record albums, we can help you with your EPK, and we have full audio-visual capabilities here. LMC is in Palm Beach Gardens on the northwest corner of Military Trail and North Lake Boulevard. It's north of the gas station, right before you get to North Lake on Military Trail. And if you go to livemusiccommunity.com, you have all the information you'll need right there. Thanks. Okay, so we were just listening to an ad for Live Music Community, and it's a school. So I was wondering, do you have any advice for upcoming musicians?
Keep on chasing your dream. You might have to do some side quests on the side. Like, we all have to get real jobs. Like, don't give up on the dream, though. Just do what you got to do to make it work. Like, I work nonstop, but I still try to play music as much as possible because, one, I make more money playing music sometimes, and two, it's just if you're happy doing what you love to do and it's making you successful, or even if you're not successful and you're just happy doing it, you can just seriously sit at home and play music, just be happy with it, and just don't ever stop. I've met a lot of friends who play their first 5 chords and then they stop because it gets too hard, and it's like you haven't even started the journey of what music can bring you. And it's like,
totally, that first hill, that first little hump, that I'd say about 50% of people don't even get over that first little hump.
No, it's like once you get past that hump, like the ride down is you want to have the ride down. It's like snowboarding. You're on the chairlift. Like, don't get off the lift early. That's like, go to the top and ride that mountain down, because then you're having so much fun. Like, you can play anything you want to play. You can start learning like little solos, and like it's just fun, whether it's guitar or like I'm a musician that's trying to not stop. Like, I started on drums, then guitar. I taught myself piano. Taught myself ukulele and harmonica. I'm trying to learn like trumpet and like saxophone, and like I want to keep on learning. Like, don't ever stop learning music because everything is different. Like, I'll get bored with the guitar, then I'll hop on my keyboard or my organ, and I'm like, wow, like I love this kind of music again. Like, I'm playing something different now, and it's always challenge yourself, I guess. Like,
no, absolutely. That's where I'm at too. I once had a piece of advice given to me by my accompanist when I was like young, and I was a good sax player, and she was like, don't start learning all these instruments to become a jack of all trades. And I always think, like, she really didn't have my number at all. I thought that was bad advice. I think maybe for some people it's good advice, but it wasn't the right advice for me,
No, because like I see some musicians, like there's tons of looping artists that I'll see go from a keyboard to a guitar to a bass guitar to a saxophone then to a trumpet, and I'm like, that is the sickest thing ever. Like, you're just letting these creations in your head just go out and through a speaker, and like to be able to like just do that, and like that's why I'm like saying, like, there'll be some gigs where it's like I will like do my first set, second set, and the third set, not do any covers, and just do like an improv kind of jam and just like explore sounds, and like most people love it if you do it the right way, where it's not obnoxiously like too drawn out. If you do it like subtle, like people love that kind of like different, and that's like more of like just layering and just like improving kind of, where I'll do like my melodica, and I'll do like a harmony with that, then loop that, then I'll go back to my keyboards, and I'm like, just keep. Everyone's like, well, this guy's been playing 5 instruments for the past 10 minutes now, but it's like it's
a fun way to keep people entertained. And it's also, it's like that that kind of, when you're a solo guy and you play a lot of stuff, there's a large group of people who are just like, wow, he can play all these, you know, it's a great way to win people.
But am I great at it? No. So I'm like, am I great at it? No, but like, I make it just sound decent, and like, I have fun with it, and it's all about having fun. It's like, do I consider myself a virtuoso? No. Like, I suck at guitar, I suck at singing, but like, I have fun with it, and I try to be prefer to be more of an entertainer, because like, then people say I'm a decent singer. I'm like, I'm okay. I'm a guitar. I'm okay. I'm like, but like, I just try to give people an entertainment and a show where they remember, like, wow, that was a fun 3 hours we just spent at some random bar right now. So
absolutely, there's definitely, I mean, there's definitely something to be said about like the advice that you got. You know, there's definitely something to be said about, you know, for some people the path is stick with that one instrument and become absolutely amazing with it, because without it, we wouldn't have those virtuosos in the world and stuff like that. But it's definitely not the advice for everyone. Well, in fact, that's not the advice for most people. Most people play as many instruments as you want. Be as versatile as you want. You don't have to be, you know, you don't have to be the best at this. You can be good at all of these.
That's why I like producing so much, because I'm not there doing like keyboards. I'm not there doing a freaking keyboard solo for 5 minutes in a jam band. I'm there doing a simple like little lead melody, or like something like melodica. I'm not there doing a 5 minute or a 2 minute like little solo.
Listen, talking of your gear, let's take a look at some of your gear, because we can get into your production. So the first thing we got up here is your guitar. Tell us a little bit about this beauty.
All right, so this is the Reverend Buckshot. My uncle, he's given me all my electric guitars except for my first Telly I've got right now. But
I like the idea that your uncle is called the Reverend Buckshot.
Well, he gave me this guitar, and it's one of the best ones. It's got the Seymour single coil pickups with but it's also got the humbuckers in the front too, so it gives you that nice twangy guitar for reggae, but also you flip that knob and you do that crunchy growl for if you want to do some like heavy like riffs and stuff. But actually, when I first started doing looping and stuff, I didn't have an octave pedal. I didn't have a multi-loop station. I just had the single ditto one-channel looper. So I would use this, where I would use my the humbucker as kind of like the bass pickup almost, where I would kind of like palm mute it and do my bass lines on those top two strings, and then I would kind of like turn the humbucker off, use the single coil, and get that bright tone off of it, and do the skanking off that. So that's kind of how I got my...
it's a cool guitar.
Dude, it's a sick guitar. I've never heard of Reverend before, and actually seen one band at Crazy Uncle Mike's, and he had the same guitar, and the sound is just one of my favorites. My guitarist and bass player, he always steals this one from me, because that's like his favorite to play on stage.
No, totally. And I remember when I saw you, we were at Golden Juicery, and you were talking to me about this guitar, because I was like, oh, you know, it looks awesome. And you told me a bit about it, and it's dope. It's really nice. I think I would love it. I like the versatility of it. It reminds me a little bit of those Telly Deluxes. It has, you know, it has a little bit of the flavor of those, just in the shape and the versatility of it too.
Yeah, no, it's one of my hands down favorites. It's got the best tone I've had from a guitar in a long time, and I've played my buddy's PRSs, and my aunt has a Gibson E335, and I played that one's my favorite. But this one has like the best, like, if you want to do like a nice like fuzz on it and do some like nice high pitched leads on it and that scream, this one's the one for it right here.
Wicked, man. No, it's dope. Okay, so what have we got coming up next? So the old classic. Tell us what you do with this guy.
So this is ancient now, especially for loopers. I know technology's came a long way since this thing, but I love this because, I mean, I worked with a single looper for so long now, and I just always wanted to create like bass drops or guitar drops where I could have like a guitar on one channel, my bass and my kick and snare on one channel, my hi-hat on another channel. So like what I'll do is like for some songs, like let's say channel 1, I'll have my skank and maybe a lead on it, like a lead guitar. Then channel 2, I'll have my kick and snare and my bass line. And channel 3, I'll have my crash, my cymbals, and like maybe like a organ effect on it. So that way, when I want to do like a chorus, I can turn stop track 2, have the drums and bass go off, and have just my guitar, just my organs and hi-hat, and kind of that, and like kind of make that noise keep going. It's just like,
and then you can drop the bass.
You can drop the bass and bring it back in, and it's like, I don't know, keep
I do the same thing.
It keeps songs exciting, because like when you're at the loop pedal, like, all right, the same 8 bars over and over and over again. I'm like, all right, how can I change it up and like Yeah, you can always like just stop it and then stop again and then come back in again. But I'm like, all right, I wish I had more pedals. Like I wish I could be like adding like congos and stuff and like having them come in at certain times. And I'm trying to figure that out and how to layer it better. But
you can so the newer one,
this 600, right? Yeah,
it has 6, and it also has an undo button, so you can basically use the undo button as another loop.
See, that's what I've seen. There are some ways with this one where it's like you can add like a
maybe you
pedal
could do that
in.
on this too. I don't know. But if this has like an undo thing on it, I'm not sure if it does or not. You might be able to change the loop effects button to undo, and if it has that, then you can add like basically add another loop.
That's what I've seen, but I'm just so bad at technology. Like this was pedals, guitars, like. Guitar and piano are simple for me. Like anything that comes with the computers and keyboards and pedals, I'm like, dude, my brain is just going to mush right now. Like,
he let me borrow the RC20. Is it 2 pedals? Yeah,
30. Maybe.
30. Yeah, it's just got the 2 pedals. It's essentially just one of these.
Exactly.
You know, and man, I'm just now getting used to like being able to like with the rhythm, getting things in line or whatever, but. The technology side of it, and there's not a lot to it. I mean, there's there's 2 pedals and a couple of knobs. There's not a lot to it, and somehow it was like a mental block of getting past that technological portion of it. You know?
No, I feel that. I had to when I got that RC600, I had to spend a week just forcing. I'm not good at it either, but I had to, just forcing myself to learn it. You know, just watching YouTube videos and like keep your eyes, concentrate. You know,
No, I found out like so many different things about this, and it's like every single thing is like there's so many different options on it. Like I just figured out you can have 3 different outputs pretty much, so that way you can have track 1 going through your left output, track 2, and that way you can have. When you're a sound guy, you're at a gig where you're going through a soundboard, your guitar, bass, and drums and hi-hat aren't going through the same channel.
Exactly.
I'm like, no wonder these sound guys hate me so much. I'm like, dude, I don't know what to tell you, bro. Like, I played through a Bose sound tower. It sounds good on my end, but, like, you got to mix them a whole
so you
different way.
doing that now? You're sending them out different ones?
I'm going to try it on Saturday.
You should do it. That's how I do it.
Yeah, I'm going to try it.
So on my board, right, the way I do it when I play... When I just play my own solo gigs, and also when I play at places like Guanabanas, is I have a microphone that's not even going through it.
Yeah.
Then I have a mic that is going through it.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
And
that
then
part too.
On the output, so the outputs in total end up being 4 because I have the mic that's not going through it, and then the 3 coming out of the looper, and it's a game changer. They can mix you then.
Gotcha, so I'm glad to figure that out now. I found it out like a week ago. I'm like, God, I've been doing it wrong this whole time. I finally figured it out. One YouTube video. There we go.
And it also sounds better too because when you go out of the main output of those things, it all gets compressed together. And
exactly. So
the separate outputs really let it breathe.
I'm glad I figured that out now.
Yeah,
I can't wait to try this out now.
So does this thing have like built-in effects and stuff, or
it does? It's got like a built-in like low-pass filter. It's also got a built-in wall.
An octave pedal.
It's so hard. I'm still can't figure it out. I'm like, all right, I'm set with just my loops. That's all I need right now. I don't want to dig into anything else yet. Yeah. But
the ones on that thing aren't that. They're okay. They're okay. The octave pedal works just about. You know, like, but when I was using that one, and it was until very, very recently I was using that one, I didn't use the effects on there.
I never use the expression pedal. Like, maybe I'll do it like one time for like a low pass. Like, there's like a low pass filter I'll do it on sometimes, but I never use the effect pedal on that just because I use the octave pedal on my Boss ME50.
Sure.
That's what I use it for, though. But this I'm just pretty much just a looper, and that's it pretty much.
I've got an Electro Harmonics bass. It's not a bass synth. It's like a bass guitar emulator thing.
Okay.
So it's an octave pedal, but it kind of like models the sound of an actual bass guitar.
Oh, that's sick.
Pretty sick. Yeah, I really like that pedal. It was just like I have a pedal problem. Spent far too much money on pedals.
Thankfully, my uncle has given me my pedal collection so far, but like every time I go to Guitar Center, I'm like, dude, you got enough. You got everything you need. You got a fuzz, distortion, delay. Anything else right now?
I thought I was all set, and then Ben found a video the other day on how to hone my my upright bass like tone just right.
Yeah.
Okay. And it was like none of the pedals I had, and so we made a list, and I was like, all right. And so I went out and bought like I don't even know like 5 pedals or some 6 pedals like this week.
We're gonna build this dope board for him where we split his signal and we send both of the sides through these limiters and gates and stuff. It's gonna
That'll
be awesome.
be sick. All right,
Yeah, I think it'll be good.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, and the last thing is your studio. So tell me a little bit about what you got set up there.
This is old studio setup pretty much right here, but that's pretty much all the gear I got. Just got the standard Kai mini keyboard, the MPD 26. That's what I use for all my drum looping. So
do you use all 3 monitors?
What? I just got 2. No. So right now I just have 1 TV monitor now. I got rid of those 2 computer ones, and I just have a laptop now. So I just use 2 monitors right now. But for like live performances, those 2, the drum pad and the keyboard is what I use the most pretty much for like, my bass lines and my drums and stuff, and I loop all that. Nice. But right now, just been working on recording a bunch of stuff at home, just added a bunch of soundproofing to the wall behind that for vocals, and just got a brand new microphone too.
Cool.
But just keeping it simple. I mean, realize you don't need a bunch of stuff to make music. You just need the time and the dedication for it. So just trying to keep that dedication at it and just...
Absolutely. Let me show... After this, I'll show you a thing that I got for my mic, which it's really helpful because it is basically a mic... sort of enclosure,
like that,
but it just goes right on the end of it. It's so awesome. Eyeball. It's great.
Yeah, the chaotic eyeball.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've been wanting to get one of those actually.
It's sick. There's a company that I don't think mine is actually made by them. It's made by someone else, and it's just like a bit cheaper. You know, like
that sounds great to me.
Yeah, exactly. yeah.
Like $400 for foam. Hell yeah.
Yeah, this thing's like it's like $90 or something.
Damn. All right. Hell yeah.
Yeah. I was. And it's the exact same thing. It's like that thick, good foam, you know.
Yeah.
It does sound good. He's recorded a bunch of stuff through it now.
That's one thing I've been having really problems with. Like right now, I just have like the closet with like blankets over it and towels over it. I'm like, all right. I'm like, people did it in the 90s this way, made hits. I'm like, I can do it somehow.
You're eons ahead of me, man. I was trying to do that demo for the song that I wrote the other day, and I'm calling Ben up, and I'm like, bro, I don't know what to do. Like, I got a little like. I don't even know what it was, a little Focusrite interface, and I'm like, I thought I had a microphone at home, but it's with the Killbilly stuff. And he's like, do you have a drum mic? I'm like, yeah. He goes, yeah, just use that. I'm using a drum mic. I'm like in my bedroom. There's like glass everywhere because like the windows. It was the worst sound ever, but whatever.
It actually came out sounding pretty good, frankly. I was impressed. We've got coming up. You have got Friday. You're playing at Jensen Beach. You're playing Ocean Breeze Beer Company.
Yeah, I'll be there.
What time are you there?
I'm there from 7 till 10. So it's a nice little like craft beer spot. Right, just opened up a few months ago, but super cool vibe in there. Great sound. They have a professional sound set up in there already.
Oh,
so
really?
Yeah,
I can
sick. Get you guys in there if you guys never needed some spots.
That's good to know.
Looking for more bands. Met the owner. And he's like met me at the bar. I was working
I like Jensen Beach.
I'll make my solo debut.
Yeah, we play up that way quite a lot, huh?
I said I'll make my solo debut there.
There you go. Perfect crowd.
Does Ron ever book shows for you? Do you know?
I actually just
Ron Hart.
Just started getting booked with him for a few shows coming up in January, but
Okay, yeah, just curious because for years and years, off and on, he's been booking me shows.
Yeah, it's so hard up there. Like, there's like so many it's like such a niche community in Jensen. I'm like, what the hell? Like, everyone's like, oh, if you want to pick this restaurant, you got to go through this person.
Yeah, Zach,
like,
Victoria, and Ron. And,
it's like, I'm like, all right. Then like West Palm Beach, everyone's like, oh yeah, we'll book you. Here you go. I'm like, all right, I love it down here. Like, I kind of like prefer down here because it's like I can get my own rates. I'm not being booked by other people. I'm like my own booking agent. I'm my own. I set my own time, set my own standards, kind of. And
I feel like you still can do that with the places up north. It's just harder.
It's harder, and I've realized that because they have 50 artists that are on retirement that will play their guitar for $150 or $125 and a few beers, and it's like I'll come in there and I'm like, listen, well, I'm bringing all this production gear with me, and this is my rate because like I also like to bring a crowd with me, and like I have friends around here that will pay money to drink beer here, but it's like I can't do it for $125 anymore. I mean, I can't do it for $150 anymore. It's like gas is expensive, rent's expensive now. Like the housing is going up every single month.
No, exactly. It should be like $250. That's like minimum, really.
That's I'm like that's honestly minimum for me to take off work as a bartender to come here and like play music. I prefer to do this because I make more money by hourly doing this. But at the same time, it's like.
Yeah, it's totally. And there's gigs out there for $350 and $4.
Absolutely. It's like I don't mind being patient and waiting for this because I know like your time will come. It's like I don't need like at first I was like, oh, $50. Like I'll play for 2 hours for $50. Like give me that gig. And now I'm like, all right, dude. Like I'd rather if I'm not getting paid what it's worth, I'd rather record and try to produce and try to like, make something in the longevity of it rather than just like wear myself out and beat myself up for every single second on a stage.
I used to do that. I used to do that with art. Ben knows that I do street art and stuff.
Oh, hell yeah.
And for a long time, it was like, people would call me up like, hey, will you fly halfway across the country for $200 and do this gig? I'm like, hell yeah, let's do it. I'll paint the street art. And now it's like, it's been a few years now. It's been about 10 years that I've been doing street art, 10, 11 years. And like now I'm at the point where like I'm enjoying the music thing. And so I'm doing some other stuff. I'm doing photography now as well. So now it's like people are like, hey, we love your stuff. We want you to come out to, wherever, Wisconsin or something. And I'm like, well, that's going to cost you like $5,000 plus expenses. And they're like, what? Like, no, exactly. But you know what? I get a lot of no's, but I get an occasional yes.
And that yes is what matters. And that's all that matters to me. It's like, dude, I'll say a lot of no's. I'm like, dude, it sucks, but like, I gotta say no. Then it's like, oh damn, there's that yes. And I'm like, fucking, that's sick. All right, there we go. That was worth it. And I'm like,
and it'll build, man.
Exactly.
Build.
And it's like, it's
a real balancing act, getting it right. It really is, but it's possible. So then you're at Guanabanas on Saturday, opening for the Whelan Brothers. Is that right?
So the Whelan Brothers are doing their Southeast tour right now, and been listening to their music forever, and I'm stoked. And then
that's this Saturday.
This Saturday, my buddy Matt from Guanabanas is like, hey, dude, like we need someone for the happy hour slot. I'm like, dude, I would love to open up for these guys.
Matt's a cool guy.
Yeah, I'm like, that would be a killer opportunity. Same kind of vibe, surf rock, reggae. Yeah. I'm like, all right, perfect. And then so I'm doing that from 3 to 6, and then my buddy Brett Stotska and the Delray Surf Club are doing the surf swap at Grandview Public over there in West Palm, and then at Steamhorse Brewing they're having the after party. So I'm kicking. So I'm kicking off the after party there from 7 to 7:45.
Very nice.
And then
Northwood Village Reggae Ranger. What is it called?
Reggae Ranger.
Oh, my phone turned it into Reggae Ranger.
I like that. That's kind of cool. That's a sick band name.
That's a band name, yeah. Reggae Rangers.
It actually is.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I might use it as a song or an album right there.
It's funny, because I was trying to describe you like to someone, and I was like, it's kind of like plays reggae and stuff like that, but he has this almost like kind of country vibe about him as a person.
So he's a reggae ranger.
And you're a reggae ranger. Yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah,
that's kind of funny. It's like, people would never guess. I mean, like, I grew up as a Florida boy, so you'd assume like surfer, but also like we go hunt alligators in Everglades and stuff. And then living in Colorado, I actually worked on a horse farm for like 8 months. So I was a cowboy for a little bit, and that's when I got a harmonica and started learning that just for the shits and giggles.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, but
what else you got going on? So Taco Tiki on Sunday.
Sunday I got Kyle G's. It's like a nice little 5-star restaurant in Stewart. I play brunch there every Sunday, and it's nice because I can never afford to eat there, but I get a $50 tab when I play there, so I get to afford to eat there.
Yeah, dude.
And that's always fun.
What time are you doing Kyle G's?
I'm there from 11 to 3, and then pretty much go home, unwind for 30 minutes, and then I'm at Taco Tiki from 5 to 8. So
very nice.
Yeah,
nice full schedule, man.
Yeah, full schedule.
6 gigs in 3 days, man.
So if you like the idea of Stoney Vibes and you want to check him out, you really have no excuse. He's playing all over town.
Yeah. He's playing everywhere this weekend.
You can find me from St. Lucie to West Palm Beach, pretty much.
So do we have gigs?
We do. We have
Megs, right?
So technically speaking, we are kicking off our tour on Friday.
Yeah.
Our first date is Meg O'Malley's in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Love that place. Always a good time there. So I love that we're kicking it off. I think we're kicking it off there this time. I think last tour we ended there or something like that. So so it's cool. And then Saturday, we're playing for the first time at Coastal Karma on Lake Park, and I am excited about that. It's their Oktoberfest. It's their first Oktoberfest. It's the first time for us to play there, and it is literally like 3 blocks from my house. So I am going to put my bass, weather permitting, in a golf cart and drive over in a golf cart.
The question is,
because I'm a baller like that.
Yeah, you are. That's gangster. So the other thing I was wondering is, are we going to wear like the German lederhosen and all that?
I mean, I wasn't planning on it, but
that could be our TikTok video.
I suppose we could.
You have to.
Bringing it full circle. That's the TikTok video.
Yeah, but I'm excited about that. They're looking forward to get a crowd there. There's a lot of people in the neighborhood that I've been talking to and stuff, and so hopefully we'll get a good crowd there, man.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be fun.
Home turf. I love it.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, wicked. I like
not to drive real far for a change.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
That's super cool, man. We need to somehow all get in it. I wish we all had golf carts and we could all show up in golf carts. It'd be fun.
Yeah, man.
Be the most South Florida
That'd
way
be
to get
legendary. That's Tequesta to a
Strap
T
all the
right
PA,
there.
Yeah,
Exactly.
strap the PA to the roof and stuff. It'll be hilarious.
All right. Well, listen. Is there anything we need to get out there? Any news?
Yeah, I mean, just if you're a regular listener, we drop episodes every week, and it's a new artist every week. For the next 2 episodes, the next 2 weeks, Ben and I are just going to record a bunch of stuff because we're going to be on the road.
Yeah.
So we're just going to record a bunch of stuff from the road, and so you're just going to get like a 30 or 45 minute rant from us from the road of all our stuff. I'm sure that we'll. I'm
going to be sitting in the back of the van, so I can do some editing back there and also some ranting.
Yeah, there's going to be all sorts of I'm sure there'll be little video snippets of James eating meatball sub and dripping sauce everywhere, and Ben's. We're going to probably document Ben's first experience at Buc-ee's, because he's never been there.
Buc-ee's.
We got to take the British guy to the Buc-ee's.
And the other thing, I've been wanting to go, trust me. And Dominic Delaney and Andy Stein are going to be out there, so they can be in it. Yeah, so we're going to have our first 2 on the road dates are going to be Wednesday and Thursday. And Wednesday is Wednesday of the 11th. We were playing in Athens, Georgia, and I think it's called the Rabbit Hole. And on Thursday, we're playing at the Nick in Birmingham, Alabama. And both of those, it's part of our tour, which, by the way, is called Flight of the Thunder Goose, because, the Thunder Goose. In case you didn't know, Hector
I am the Thunder
is
Goose.
the Thunder Goose.
So the tour is called Flight of the Thunder Goose. But it's crossing over. It's a couple of our first, I guess 3rd and 4th dates of our tour that are actually crossing over with some of the last dates of Dominic Delaney and Andy Styron on their Intentions tour. And it just worked out that we were going to be in the same area at the same time, so we're playing with them, which I love. I love that we're going to be in 2 other states playing with homegrown talent, man.
That is one of the cool things about touring. That kind of stuff happens quite often when it's great. I love it.
Yeah, no. So I'm excited about that. And man, we're playing all over. We're playing up in Marietta, we're Atlanta, Knoxville. We're doing a radio show in Knoxville. We're playing a place called the Burger Bar in
We could busk in
Asheville.
Atlanta while we're there.
We could busk in Atlanta.
And Asheville, maybe.
Actually, Knoxville.
Oh, yeah.
All those places. Let's busk everywhere.
Yeah, there you
We
go.
need money.
Yeah. Totally. If you want to give us money.
Yeah. So, the usual spiel. Sponsor us, 561music.com. All the socials are at 561music podcast?
Yes.
No, at 561 Music FL. No, that's
Is that 561 Music
podcast. I get it confused with Killbilly. Sorry.
Yeah.
So but follow Killbillies too at Killbillies FL.
Yeah. At Killbillies Podcast.
No, now you're confusing everyone.
So it's 561 Music Podcast on the socials and Killbillies FL
at all the socials. Yeah. So I'm excited. We're gonna have a couple episodes from the road and a lot of stories to tell when we get back. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully
absolutely.
it's not a complete flop and destroys our career.
We'll be fine. We'll have a good time. Come on, Eeyore.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
All right. Well, listen. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you guys so much for having me here, man.
Yeah, man.
It's been a pleasure. It's kind of the second time for you and I. We did one before.
Yeah,
didn't we?
for the
We did
Bumble
the-
Festival.
Yeah,
that was a great time. I was super stoked on that.
Yeah,
so.
wicked.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming back, and we'll see you around town. And I love your music, and all the best of luck in the future.
Thank you so much, you
Yeah,
guys.
man.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Wicked.
Woo.